Good evening, everybody. So thank you for coming the class again. And so we just finished the Vibhashika schools or Tenet. So actually we spend a lot of time studying about Dharma. So today reminds you again. So study of Dharma is not like just study about man and science and language and history and culture. It is for practice. Because I'm telling you this, because last week I met 2%. One of the person has enough money for 15 to 20 years in bank or somewhere, but he has a lot of worry about future, about money. And also I met a person, he has a company, he runs a company, he has money, everything, but he has a lot of worry about about family and about future, about money. So after you study about Buddhism, after you study about tenets, I hope you won't have this kind of worry and like also depression. So you are be ready to face any kinds of problems, the external problems, the weather, the economy, food, physical condition, so, as well as be ready to face inner problems of emotion. So it is very important in this moment and in this time, if you practice Dharma, although it will be great benefit for you in the future after you retire from your work, so, or when you sometimes we never know what will happen in our life in the future. Maybe in the future you have to stay alone in the present. Maybe you have to stay alone in your home, nobody around you, nobody will take care of you. At that moment, the best friend you can have the practice of Dharma. So, whatever you learn from the books, from master, from guru, from me, from your Dharma friends, just practice as much as you can. So it is so important to practice it as much as you can. So otherwise, I have said many times, you spend a lot of time in this class, and also you spend a lot of time reading different books about religion, different books about Buddhism, different books about tenets. And of the reading of books, and of the study about Buddhism, if you don't have anything in your mind about practicing, that's mean you just waste your time. So it is so important, try to practice as much as you can every day, little by little. Then I hope when you face difficulties, any kinds of problem, I hope you're able to come, you're able to overcome any kinds of problem. So right now, most of you, so we are quite young, not really young, quite young. So right now, you are facing some problem here and there, but you are not really facing a lot of problems, which is good. In the future, if you have any kind of problem, right now you try to be ready to face the problem, to challenges, the problems. So today I just, briefly explain from beginning to end of the Great Exposition School or the Vibhashika School. We just, listen and don't read, look at your books, then you can, understand, you can notice how much you learn, how much you got in your mind. So I've explained very quickly. The Great Exposition School, this presentation of the tenets of the proponent of is in 4 parts. So when they explain about the tenets, it has 4 parts. The first one, definition. Second one, sub-schools. Third, etymology. The fourth one, assertion. So the definition of these tenets, a person propounding the lesser vehicle tenets who does not accept self-cognizing consciousness and who accepts external objects as being truly established. This is the definition. This school, accept self-cognizing consciousness and also, accept or accept external objects are being truly established. An external object doesn't mean only, so the thing, so impermanent things also include permanent things too. It has 3 groups or 3 branches. The first one, Kashmiri, Vibhashika, Aparantakas, Vibhashika, Magadas, Vibhashika. They name not only the different place, but they have a little bit different view between 3 of them. The next one is the etymology, what we call Great Exposition School, because there is a particular text, the text name called named Great Exposition. So this school follow, but most they follow particular the text. That's why they name due to the following of this text. And also, they go Cheta Mawa. Mawa means they says or claim, accept the time 3 times. Past, present, and future. They are substantial entity. They are thing, they are impermanence, they exist as a substantial. This is substantial entity, the 3 times. Then number 4, assertion of tenets. It has 3 parts. The same in all other school. The basis, base, parts, and fruits. It's look like a ground, then tree, then fruit. So when they talk about basis or base, then there's a 2, assertion regarding object, assertion regarding subject. According to this school, all objects of knowledge are included within the 5. Basic category, appearing forms, and man mind, and accompanying mental factors, then compositional factors. That's been according to this school, all phenomena must include into 5 categories. And particularly, generally, so, existence has a true, permanent, impermanent. Of course, according to this school, permanence and impermanence are contradictory phenomena. And generally, permanent and things, contradictory phenomena. But this school, permanent also thing. The thing have a true, permanent thing and impermanent things. The space, all of them, they accept they are thing. But the permanent space is thing, but space is not impermanent. Space is permanent. So the definition of the thing, the definition of the thing is that which is able to perform a function. Is the definition. Then existent object of knowledge and thing are mutually inclusive. Whatever is the one is the other. Then all things are necessarily substantially established, but they are not necessarily substantially existent. All phenomena, permanent or impermanent, all phenomena must be substantially established, but not substantially existent. There's a difference. Then also, the phenomena divided into two truths: ultimate and conventional truth and ultimate truth. So the definition of the ultimate truth there's a truth and substantial existence are mutually inclusive. Ultimate truth and a substantial existence are mutually inclusive. You must differentiate between substantially existent and substantially established. So the definition of conventional truth, a phenomena which is such that when it is broken up or mentally separated into individual parts, the awareness apprehending the object is cancelled. This means the phenomena which is broken up, make it separate practically, or is made it separate from mentally. Finally, if you able to the apprehending of the awareness is cancelled, then we call the phenomena is conventional truth. For example, the pot, the table. The table is conventional truth because when you try to, when you broken up this table, finally you cannot, find this is particular table. This part of is the table. You cannot say, you cannot find. Finally, the mind also cancel, which is comprehend the table, the object as a table. This is practically you can broken up. Or mentally, you don't have to broken up, but mentally you just do study about the table, separate piece by piece, finally you feel, oh, the table is not there. That moment, then also the mind, which is comprehend the table, is also cancelled. No more this kind of awareness there. The opposite is, ultimate truth. So according to this school, ultimate truth, conventional truth is, generally a contradictory phenomena, but ultimate truth not necessarily permanent. Someone is permanent, something is permanent true. For example, the directionless particle. The momentless consciousness is our ultimate truth. They are impermanence. So our opposite is ultimate truth. Next, then we talk about another truth. Then also we talk about contaminated phenomena, and contaminated phenomena was the opposite, uncontaminated, right?
Yes.
Contaminated object and uncontaminated object. So within the permanent, within the impermanence, only the true part is uncontaminated phenomena. Within the impermanence phenomena, the true part, the part which is able, comprehend the form of the truth directly, and this particular part is the only uncontaminated phenomena within the impermanence. Within the permanent, there are three uncontaminated phenomena: space, true cessation, true cessation and space. There are uncontaminated phenomena. What are the true cessation? Analytical cessation and non-analytical cessation. Within the impermanence, the true part, the seeing part, is only the seeing part is the ultimate, uncontaminated phenomena. Rest of the all, contaminated phenomena are, rest of the impermanence are contaminated phenomena. According to this school, all the contaminated phenomena necessarily to be abandoned. Even though within the 5 parts, accumulation parts, seeing parts, meditation parts, normal learning parts, all of them have to be abandoned. The first two is, have abandoned because they are just kind of begin. It is kind of preparation parts to enter in the seeing parts. Normal learning parts is look like, this when they achieve nirvana, then the normal learning paths finish their kind of unique duty. For example, you need a ship to cross to the river. When you already cross the river, then you don't need any more the ship. You have to leave the ship there. Then we talk about, so the first part has a 3, the second part has a 4, third part has a 16, 15 moments, 16 including the meditation parts. Within the meditation parts, there are 9 different levels. Then also, the abandoned object of abundance. There's 2 types of ignorance: afflictive ignorance and non-afflictive ignorance. The person, the practitioner who achieved only nirvana, the practitioner only abandoned the afflictive ignorance, not the non-afflictive ignorance. The practitioner who achieved Buddhahood fully enlightened man, the practitioner abandon afflictive emotion as well as the non-afflictive ignorance. And the practitioner, there are three types of practitioner: Hira, solitary realizer, and Bodhisattva. The first practitioner has a sun, kind of abandon. They don't have a separate abandon. We can differentiate two of them based on the merit, cumulative merit. Bodhisattva, as well as accumulating merit, plus they abandon the non-afflictive ignorance. Non-afflictive ignorance we can divide into four. How we remember four of them? And also this school talk about mind and mental factors, but mind and mental factors are, two different substantial. These are two different things, but not one entity. Other school, mind and mental factor is just one entity. Parts. So also there are the four truths. Each truth has four attributes, and also you can 16 attributes. Also we can name the 16 aspects. Suffering has four aspects or four attributes. They are very important: impermanence, misery, empty of permanent, unity or partless, also independent. And also according to this school, they accept selflessness, but they don't differentiate between gross selflessness and subtle selflessness. Selflessness we can divide into two. Selflessness of, I don't like to use the person, but selflessness of being, selflessness of non-being. For example, the table is non-being, tree are non-being, or selflessness of being or selflessness of phenomena. So to differentiate, only the negation are different. They don't accept two types of selflessness. And according to this school, three time, present and past, present and future are compounded phenomena. And also this school, of course they accept causes and condition, but the cause and condition exist simultaneously. All other school, they never accept cause and condition exist simultaneously. When the cause exists, the effect, the result haven't come yet. When the result come or exists, and the cause have to cease, related to the each cause and condition. But this school, they accept, cause and condition must be exist simultaneously, because they thought, so there's a tree, we can pour the water to the tree, and there's a tree waters, it exists together, that's why they benefit each other. If you go with a subtle level of connection between causes and condition, then there's no way. The cause, the effect, never coexist. Never coexist or never exist simultaneously. If the cause and effect not exist simultaneously, then they thought mom and child is cause and condition, cause and effect. How the mom can meet the children, how the children can talk to the mom, they never exist simultaneously. And also how they can benefit each other, how the cause can produce the effect, because they never exist, never meet each other. If they are meet, the cause and effect never meet each other, how they can, we can say, produce benefit. And also this school, not only this, Sudatantika school also most they only follow the, teaching. They don't, without teaching, they don't accept anything. Then also the differentiate between, Buddha and among the three jewels of Buddha. According to this school, three jewels must be the kind of quality of the mind. And according to this school, there are three final vehicle or three final paths. Each path is the final path. If someone truly follow one particular path, when they reach to the result, when they reach to the last destination, they finish. They're never able to come back and practice another path. Then we talk about the eight community, what do you call it? A porcher and a border, total 8. Among the 8, there are 20, kind of branches of Arya. And last, they talk about Bodhisattva paths and talk about the 12 deeds of the Buddha. 12 deeds of Siddhartha Gautama. We did the 12. First 9 deeds are deeds of the Bodhisattva. The last 3, training wheel of Dharma and becoming Buddha or enlightened, being enlightened, and parinirvana, entering the parinirvana. These are Buddha deeds, not the Bodhisattva. 9 deeds of Bodhisattva, last 3 deeds of the Buddha. And also the entry into parinirvana, there's a 2 concept. Concept from the lower school, concept of the higher school. According to lower school, when someone enters into parinirvana, then the body also ceased, and also the consciousness will cease. It's a normal Buddha, when they enter parinirvana. But other school, they say it just show to the disciple as entering in the parinirvana. And also, they accept 6 different types of force destroyer. Within the 6, 5 are not really, kind of ultimate force destroyer, because they're able to decrease their practice, their cessation. Among the 6, the 6th is a kind of ultimate for destroyer. They never able to decrease their practice, the nirvana. Why there's a 2 different force destroyer? Because once achieve nirvana, practice of what we call one practice the mundane path. One of the practice, most of the practice like 16 attributes. For example, if you just practice the path, the grossness, remember there's a name like grossness. They looked, the desire realm is very gross, the life is very short, the body are very ugly, and he has a lot of sufferings. A higher realm, the being has a long life. They has a kind of celestial body. They have a less kind of suffering. If you just contemplate this kind of thing, then you're going to be able to reduce the desire of the desire realm. you still can usually practice this kind of path. Finally, you can feel, oh, I don't have a really attachment or desire and anger or ignorance. It's look like you achieve. Look like I've achieved Nibbana. Somehow, one day you can meet certain factor, then the attachment arises again. So now is very short explanation about the Vabhashika school. Now we just start Sutra school, the page number 221. He says, it's very easy. I mean,
that's missing the student to start. Copy less one page.
Okay, no problem. The presentation of the tenets of the proponent of Sutra is in four parts: same definition, sub-school, etymology, assertion of tenets. The definition of the proponent of Sutra is a person propounding the lesser vehicle tenets who accept the truth existence of both an external object and self-cognizing consciousness. And the first school, they reject cognizing consciousness, but this school accept. That means the self-consciousness is also self-cognizing consciousness, also truly existent. External object also truly existent. External doesn't not only referring to the object we can see. All phenomena have to be true existent. Is the definition. Sub-school, these are the two types of proponents of Sutra, proponents of Sutra following scripture, and proponent of Sutra following reasoning. Look at, now you can see the first school, they just follow the Sutra. And this school, there's a true, one just follow the Sutra, but not only follow the Sutra, they are very much rely on the reasoning, logic, analysis. The former are proponent of Sutra who follow Vashubandhu, treasury of manifest knowledge, Abhidharma Goka. This is the name of the text. Abhidharma Goka, which is written by Vasubandhu. The one school who follow the Vasubandhu treasure manifest knowledge, the first one. First who? The proponent, the proponent of Sutra following Sutra. The second one, the proponent of Sutra who follow the reasoning. Is kind of, follow more they must rely on the reasoning. Follow the Dharmakirti's 7 treatises of brain cognition. This 7 treatise is a very important text which is explain about all the mind and mental factor, also the cognizance, self-cognizer, or the direct perception, indirect perception, so and so. This is kind of the very important text about explaining the cognition or cognizer. So Dharmakirti's 7 treatises on brain cognition. These are reason for this being called. So we call this other, Sutra school. Their reason for this being called proponent of Sutra and exemplifier, right? Exemplifiers. Because this English they translate as a Tibetan, directly. Exemplifier. They are called proponent of Sutra because the proponent tenets chiefly, right? Chiefly in reliance on the Supramandan Victoria Sutra. Is with Tibetan called Drachomba. This means the Buddha name, supermantent vector is the name of the Buddha Shakyamuni. So this means we call sutra proponents because they relies on the sutra which is taught by Buddha Shakyamuni. Also, also it's good to explain you. When we Tibetans say sutra, okay, so when Tibetan say sutra necessarily taught by Buddha. But in the Chinese society, they say, there's so many sutra also which is written by, not Buddha, different master, also they are called sutra. So according to Tibetan, when it's a sutra means taught by Buddha, and we call Do, sutra. The second we call Tenju. It's commentary on the sutra. We call Tenju. The Tenju necessarily, written by, other master, which is not particular Buddha Shakyamuni. Also, you need to keep in your mind when we say Sutrayan and Tantrayana. Sutrayana, Tantra. This is sutra text. That means all the texts which is only explained, only 5 parts of Bodhicitta, not mention anything about the Tantrayana thing, and we can name sutra. So you must differentiate between sutra and Tantrayana sutra. Also the Sutrayana which is taught by Buddha Shakyamuni. For example, the Heart Sutra is sutra, not Tantrayana. And the Vashubandhu, treasure, manifest knowledge. It is not the sutra text. But between Tantrayana and Sutrayana text is included into Sutrayana. When we say Tantrayana text or Sutrayana text, then Vashubandhu text we can say it is not the Tantrayana text, it is the Sutrayana text. So because in the Chinese society, when they say, sutra, you can name all the texts as sutra, right?
No. In Chinese text, there is 2 types. There is also a sutra taught by Buddha, and there is a commentary. So they have different names.
What do you call it, commentary?
It's commentary, Lun.
Lun.
Yeah,
means?
sutra is Jing. Means it's direct teaching of Buddha.
Mm-hmm.
And those commentary like written by Vasubandhu or Janakirti, all those are Lun.
Lun. No sutra.
No, it's a different word.
When I was in Vietnam.
But Abhidhamma is actually sutra.
Yeah.
But Abhidhamma is not a direct word of Buddha, it's a commentary that is written. It's a consolidation works of all the other works of the later dates. And some of the kings give order so that all the scholars gather together and consolidate and make Abhidhamma, right?
Yeah.
But Abhidhamma in Chinese term is still use the word sutra.
Sutra.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, so Tibetan, when you sutra, necessarily taught by Buddha.
So, sorry, when you say Tibetans mean all those texts that start with the words thus have I heard, is it? That is so-called sutra.
Yeah.
So only sutra, to qualify as a sutra, it will start with those words that thus have I heard, as instructed.
No, not necessarily.
Which is why,
Yeah.
because in one of the history that we read about this is like before Buddha passed into Parinirvana, somebody asked, and then Buddha says it's necessary that you start to record my words by saying that thus have I once heard.
Yeah.
Something like that.
No.
So that will qualify as sutra, as direct teaching of Buddha. So if it's not with that, then there will be a commentaries or other things. So you can't say that there is a direct teaching of Buddha. Sorry. And you mentioned before that Buddha has 3 types of teaching, right?
Yeah.
Direct teaching, proof teachings, and
No. The Buddha teaching we got divided into 3. One is the teaching of Abhidharma, Vinaya, There's
that's another
three
category.
baskets.
That's the another category because Heart Sutra is not a direct teaching of Buddha, but it's an approved teaching of Buddha. Because Buddha only says yes, well said, well said.
Oh.
Buddha didn't say that.
No. So this is the Tibetan name, the Blessed Sutra.
Blessed
Sutra. That's mean the Buddha was, meditated on the emptiness, and the Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara has started the conversation, question answer. This happened blessed by Buddha Shakyamuni, because direct teaching, the blessed teaching, blessed teaching or blessed dharma. Also, there's another teaching we can name, the teaching which is taught or the teaching which is come from kind of trees, the moving trees. There's a tree, so due to Buddha bless the tree just move, there's a wind, the wind tone as a teaching.
sound.
The sound. So Heart Sutra is the sutra, and also Heart Sutra is the we call blessed teaching. But there's a kind of debate. The sutra and tantra teaching is contradictory, or there's the mutual thing we can posit. Many Tibetan masters said that Heart Sutra is we can accept as a sutra as well as the tantra. Heart Sutra is the book. But somebody said no, it is impossible. One sutra can be both. So anyway, sutra. So
this school sutra is which sutra?
So these are two types of school. Once both of them follow the sutra which is taught by Buddha Shakyamuni. Particularly, they follow the commentary. One is the follow after Vasubandhu. One is follow after the Dharmakirti. But that means two of them, accept whatever Buddha taught directly. Because both of them just follow the Four Noble Truths, teaching of the Four Noble Truths.
So they don't follow the blessed teaching?
No. Even though they don't accept, there's a teaching of Prajaparamita, teaching of the third will of teaching or second will of teaching. Both of them follow the sutra, and next there's two important texts. One is the Vasubandhu treasure, manifested treasure knowledge. The second one is the seven treasures of Dharmakirti.
Dharmakirti's pictures over here. One of these is Dharmakirti.
Yeah, one of them, I'm not sure which one Dharmakirti is. I'm not sure, I have to read the Tibetan. The Dharmakirti was Bandhus. Is there an English name there?
Yes. There is English, but too many of them.
It's
Later.
short. Okay, I will show you. Okay, so this is kind of the branches. There's two. One is follow the only sutra. One is not only sutra. This follow the reasoning. The second one we call exemplifier fears. That means all the doctrines, all the dharma, all the meaning, they always show through example. Exemplify, because they teach all doctrines, all dharma by way of example. That means they are the etymology. And third, extension of Tenet. This section has three parts. The assertion on the basis, assertion on the path, assertion of the fruits. Assertion of the basis, now you can see the rest of this very similar with the Dura, the collective topic. This section has two parts. assertion according to objects, assertion according to the object proposer, then the object is subject. Proposer, why called? Because they have an object. They are aware the object, then they call the proposer. Possessor. So object or possessor. Possess object, they were possessor. Assertion regarding to object. Now you can say the definition of an object is that which is stable to be known by unawareness. Right? Object. Why we name this table as object? Because this table is stable to be known by unawareness.
And awareness.
Yeah, and awareness. That means the table is object. The definition of object is which is suitable to be known by unawareness.
So, usually like in Dura, we call it comprehends by a valid cognition, or comprehends an object is of valid cognition or just cognition.
Valid cognition.
It has to be a valid cognition.
Valid cognition.
So over here, when it says that a known by awareness and awareness, that means and awareness denote one singularity. So awareness, one awareness. So any object that, as long as one awareness can recognize it, then it is called a object. So this one, it does not suggest valid or invalid.
It's general.
So you don't have to differentiate, is it a valid cognition or non-valid cognition? Because when you say yellow snow mountains, so when yellow snow mountain because of jaundice, so is that an object or what? Because yellow snow mountain does not exist.
The yellow snow mountain is object of the particular awareness, but it is not object. Object necessary to be existent phenomena.
Object is necessary to be existent phenomena. So yellow snow mountain is an object of
the particular awareness.
Of a particular awareness.
For example, ignorance has an object. All consciousness or mind must have a particular object. The object is valid or non-valid, doesn't matter. All consciousness must have an object, because they have to focus, they have to comprehend something.
Yeah, object of
comprehends. It doesn't mean the object must be valid.
Is a valid. So okay.
Valid. So it's the same as the qualitative topic, which is stable to be known by unawareness.
And awareness.
And awareness, yeah. The definition of an object of knowledge is that which is stable to be an object of unawareness, which is object of awareness and object of unawareness.
And awareness.
So difference is like
this difference is like to draw classification.
yeah. So this is a definition. Then object, existent, object of knowledge, and established basis are mutually inclusive. Objects are divided into two. Now it's very important. Into the two truths. First, all objects divided into two truths. Number one. Number two, into a specifically characterized and generally characterized phenomena. Number three, negative phenomena and positive phenomena. Number four, manifest phenomena and hidden phenomena. Number five, into three time. Number six, single and different. We can differentiate all phenomena into two truths On another way, we can differentiate, specifically characterized phenomena, generally characterized phenomena, negative phenomena, positive phenomena, manifest phenomena, hidden phenomena. 1 3 times. Also single and different. Then one or two. We call oneness and two.
Oneness or many.
Many, yeah.
So Geshe, sorry. This statement is telling us when we talk about objects, so all objects has two truths: the conventional
Definitely.
truth
Yeah.
and conventional truth and ultimate truth. So
Yeah.
these are the two truths. Or you can look at the characteristics of it. So is it specifically characterized or generally characterized?
Oh no,
Phenomena.
this is a little different. Generally, we can, object divided into two truth. Also, all phenomena must has true truths. But all phenomena doesn't have a, specifically characterized phenomena, characterized and general
So
characterized.
it's mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
So if it's specially categorized, then it cannot be generally categorized.
Yeah.
So these are the two separate what?
Generally, when we say object has divided into two, one, true,
Two aspects.
true aspect, or this is little different because all object we can divide into two, permanent and impermanent. It's a kind of two contradictory phenomena. Also, all object divided into two truths, ultimate and conventional truth. There's one meaning. Another meaning, and all phenomena must have a true, aspect.
Yep.
Ultimate aspect and conventional aspect. Even though ultimate truth, it has a true aspect, ultimate and conventional.
Even ultimate truth
Yeah.
itself has two aspects, which is the conventional aspect and ultimate aspect.
For example, the existence of ultimate truth.
Okay.
Existence of ultimate truth is conventional truth.
Yeah.
For example, when we say the table is one aspect, existence of table is different aspect.
Yes.
For example, we could just talk about selflessness. Selflessness of table. There's a table. The table is conventional truth. The selflessness of table is the table is conventional truth.
Correct.
And selflessness of table is ultimate truth. Existence of selflessness of table is conventional truth.
Existence of selflessness of a table is conventional truth.
For example, when we say table, we're just talking about one, just generally. Then when we say permanence impermanence of table. Table's impermanence, there's a two things is different. Impermanence of table means, the table which is lack of permanence is we call impermanence, impermanence of table.
Right.
Second, we call impermanence, tables impermanent.
Tables being impermanent, then you will say that the way that you say it
Then,
becomes
yeah, when you-
impermanence a characteristic of a table.
The table itself is the basis.
Yes, table itself is a base.
Now you need just think about selflessness of table.
Okay.
So the selflessness of table
Become an
is
object. Yeah.
one,
Is a concept.
one.
Yeah.
the selflessness of table is existent phenomena.
Yes.
Right? Now we can add, selflessness of table of selflessness.
Say it again. The last one.
First we say selflessness of table.
Selflessness of
Of
table.
table.
So it becomes
It's just
selflessness.
one thing. It's just
Okay.
it's the aspect of the selflessness. Now you need to think this way. Oh yes, the selflessness of table is existing phenomena.
Yes.
It has a aspect.
Selflessness of
Another is
aspect.
it is itself also selflessness.
Yes.
That means easy way. The
Ah.
table is impermanence. Table impermanence also impermanence.
Impermanence,
Yes.
This
That means
is like emptiness is also empty of
Yeah.
emptiness
Yeah.
nature.
Yeah.
So emptiness of emptiness,
emptiness is same.
impermanent of impermanence.
Yeah. So this is little different. Okay, all phenomena must have the two truths. The next one, is little different. Next one we can include, specifically characterized phenomena and general phenomena. This means all the impermanent is specifically phenomena. All the permanence is general phenomena.
Sorry, can you elaborate that, or it will be explained later?
Yeah, it's coming later. The next one, the negative phenomena and positive. You shouldn't think negative means like a bad thing, okay? The negative.
Like absence of something is a negative.
No. For example, the table is positive.
Yep. Emptiness is negative.
Selflessness of table is the negative. The next we can name, manifest phenomena and hidden. Manifest means is very obvious for us. We can see, we can touch, we can hear, we can understand without relying on any reasoning. A hidden means the impermanence of the table, selflessness of the table. There are hidden phenomena.
So Geshe,
Yes.
manifest phenomena is something that we can direct comprehend. So hidden phenomena is something that you need to
You need to
concept,
rely
maybe
on.
to think or investigate and check.
Yeah.
So that will be negative phenomena and hidden phenomena in a way is synonyms. Because like table is positive.
Manifest phenomena.
Manifest. Emptiness of the table, it is hidden. It is also negative. So
Yeah.
any concept or you need to analyze and further investigate on to comprehend. You do
No.
not directly comprehend.
No. For example, for you, Sunam say, the hidden phenomena and
Hidden phenomena
and
negative phenomena.
or negative phenomena is synonym.
Yeah.
And I said no. For example, partless particles is hidden phenomena but not negative phenomena. But also the very shortest moment of the consciousness, the very shortest moment of consciousness is hidden phenomena but not negative phenomena, because they are positive.
Okay, hidden. And you need a definitions of hidden.
So it's coming in later also, so you can go come by one. Now we'll look at the definition of the true truths.
Right.
So I hope you remember the definition of true truths according to the Vaibhashika school. Now look at the definition of ultimate truth is a phenomena that is able to bear reason, analysis from the point of view of whether it has its own mode of substance without depending on imputation by terms of conceptual consciousness. It's very long. That's mean, so the ultimate truth here, look at, the definition. The phenomena that is able to bear reasoning or analysis from the point of view of whether it has own mode or substance. This means it doesn't matter when you try to when you do some study, some analysis about the travel, finally, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much you are going to separate, dismantle. Somehow you can find the table from the table site. It's a bear. Able to bear resent analysis from the point of view of whether it has own mode of substance. Yeah, subsistence without depending on the intuition by trance or conceptual consciousness.
So it exists by itself, which means it
No.
exists by itself.
No, not because all phenomena exist by itself according to this school. But this is saying, doesn't matter. You can name or not. You can name or not.
Yeah.
The phenomenon must be function. Must have a function. Not only that, it have to be bare. Bare means you cannot, for according to other schools said, the first school said, when you broken up, then finally you cannot no more table. You cannot find the table. This is going to totally, going to lose. But this somehow doesn't matter how much you going to, breaking up. Somehow you have to found somewhere
Find something that is
truly there. In Tibetan they say, here, so it had to be exist, phenomena is able to bear reason analysis from the point of view of whether it has own mode of subsistence, yeah, without depending on imputation by trance or conceptual consciousness. So all the permanent phenomena, they also is able to bear reason analysis.
withstand analysis.
But all the permanent phenomena, not subsistence mode, their own mode of subsistence. This means all the permanent phenomena is very much depending on the imputation and trance or consciousness, as well as they are also bear to reason analysis from the point of view of, but it is not exist own mode of substance, right? Subsistence, yeah, subsistence. Anybody have some idea what does mean the meaning?
You got to change the word, Geshe. His word is really very big word.
It's like a mental image of a cat. So you need to impute a cat for a cat. But if the cat is there, that means it exists by itself. That means on its subsistence.
So I try to explain best, like in Tibetan words.
Yeah. Don't use his words, Geshe.
Yeah.
His words very big.
So now you think, there's two types of phenomena. One is the ultimate phenomena, one is gravitational phenomena. The ultimate phenomena must exist not depending on the terms and conceptual thoughts, as well as they have to bear when someone do kind of analysis, still the phenomena can be found from the object side.
Correct. It's easier to say.
Yeah.
So whenever a analytic analysis done to a object, it can be withstands any analysis as it is.
Can stand there.
Yeah.
And the permanent or conventional truth exists there. When you done analysis or search, then the object never exists as before.
Yeah, for example, the table, if you were to look at it closely, so which part of the table, the top planks, the legs, so you can mentally dismantle it. The moment you analyze it, it can be break apart and it no longer become a table, because when you take a closer look, it will be the plank, it will be legs. It is not as a whole, which is why a table is a conventional existence, is impermanent in that way, because the table itself cannot withstand this kind of analysis. When you try to analyze it, then you will find that although it is table, but it is, when you look at it, okay, this is only the top plank. If I look at that, this is only the legs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in this school, what it says that if you perform analysis like that, and then the objects cannot withstand as the object that you comprehend in the beginning, so it is not an ultimate truth. It is a
according to
conventional
ultimate truth.
It is not.
Ultimate truth.
You cannot. I said you cannot. If you cannot, if you perform analysis and then it cannot withstand the original view, then it is conventional truth. If it can withstand the analysis, then it is ultimate truth.
Yeah.
So if I take a closer look and it's still a table as table, then it is the table becoming ultimate truth. But because analysis, when I look at the table itself, I'm able to only dismantle it and it no longer hold as a table. So it is.
When you do some analysis or this study of this table,
Yes.
then this table not able to bear, right? Not able to bear. Then how they can say this table is ultimate truth?
No, I say this is conventional truth.
Because
Because you cannot bear, which is why
No.
conventional.
According to this table is ultimate truth.
Yeah?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Ultimate truth. Impermanence phenomena mutually inclusive.
Okay.
That's why here look say in English they said
Subsistence.
subsistence. So in the Tibetan chant, the text they said this means saying this table exists as a table. It is table exists as a table. Not depends on conceptual thoughts and charm. It exists as a table from naturally.
Ah. So
Naturally.
So if like there's no valid cognition or no sentient beings, the table itself
Always
is
there.
the table.
Because
Right.
then this saying easy. Then another problem, the selflessness of table. Selflessness of table. And also exists as a selflessness of the beginning of the table. It's always there.
Okay.
Always there. But the selflessness of table is not exist as a selflessness from kind of without depending on the thought and chant imputation. When you say this is I think so difficult to understand. Maybe I'm not sure. I think myself when we try to understand even in the Tibetan language, the Rum and Tupa, there may be little, I think, gap between the Sanskrit term and Tibetan language. There's a little gap. They cannot explain exactly as Sanskrit term. Because this table and selflessness of table, both is phenomena, both are exist as a phenomena, but the table exists as a table naturally. Or the selflessness of table is exists but not exists by the naturally. How so
Because the selflessness of the table can be only recognized if you do analysis. Without analysis,
yeah,
you are not able to find it.
not only that, it exists very much depend on the imputation, like a tram inputted, like a trams and conceptual thoughts.
Yes, because emptiness itself is a concept. It is not. It's not an object. Right, Ishira? Is it
Yeah,
correct to
I
say
think you very much love to use the emptiness. Okay, this school they don't accept emptiness. Must say selflessness.
that? Okay.
So the nature of the table or selflessness of table.
Did I say emptiness?
Yeah, there's two truths. So now you can see, the level of two truths is going more deeper compared with the Vipassika. It's more deeper. Next, when we study about the Chitta Mandara, is going more deeper. Then, when we study about the Madhyamaka special, Pasangika, then we going to think, oh, very strange. It's going more deeper and deeper and deeper. So not only this, now it's more difficult here, the definition. Then ultimate truth, imputation by terms or conceptual consciousness. Then ultimate truth, specifically characterized phenomena, okay, and impermanent thing, component phenomena, and truly existent phenomena are mutually inclusive. Okay. Next one, the definition of a truth for
Truth for an obscure.
Yeah. I'm thinking we have to jump somewhere, right? Yeah. Definition of truth of obscure is a phenomena that only exists through being imputed by conceptual consciousness. The next one is non-functioning phenomena. Then general characterized phenomena, permanent phenomena, uncomponent phenomena, and falsely existent phenomena are mutually inclusive. False phenomena existent. So, do you have any idea what this means? Obscure. No obvious. Obscure, kunzok number. Here, obscure must be, you must think in like in the consciousness level. Obscure, mutually exclusive. There are etymology for the true truth. Okay, uncompounded space is called a truth for the obscure, because it is a truth for obscure awareness. Here, obscures here refer to a conceptual consciousness. which is called obscure because it is obstructed for the direct perception of specifically characterized phenomena. So it's so difficult to understand the definition and also the meaning.
Write down the change because you get the synonyms correct. First, truthful and obscure.
Mhm. He's by saying, all the permanent phenomena are existent phenomena. They are truth. They are not ultimate truth. They are conventional truth.
Yes.
They are conventional, all the permanent phenomena.
Yes. According to this school.
This school.
This school is Swatantrika.
Yeah, so according to school, all permanent phenomena are true. It's not ultimate truth, it is conventional truth. How, the space, all the permanent phenomena is truth, is truth for conventional. How we can name is a truth, really truth for the obscure consciousness. Obscure is truth for the obscure consciousness, but it's not truth for the it's not truth the direct perception.
Sorry. Two sides. Direct perceptions and
Obscure.
consciousness. So we have to bear in mind that you have two awareness. One is direct perceptions. To comprehend the items, you have two ways: direct perceptions or through the obscure awareness. Okay, everything that is able to direct perceive is of impermanence, compounded.
It is no, we call, and there's a name we say no provision. It is epistemology.
Okay.
It's not provision, maybe not necessary. Just think about this, there's a kid, he had never seen kind of, big lake,
Okay.
this huge lake. When he reached to in front of the just
Water.
small lake,
Yes.
this small lake, then the kid thought it's a kind of ocean, it's too big, right? He think it's too big, very big water. But this water is big, too big for the kids, but it's not really big. It's big for the kids, but it's not really too big. Same as the uncompounded phenomena is true. Is truth for whom? Truth for the the obscure consciousness. It is not really ultimate truth.
Uncompounded.
Space, permanent.
Yes. Only for the obscure awareness.
Yeah.
But it's not necessary.
Oh, also it's something. Something is truth for the obscure consciousness is not necessarily conventional truth.
Huh? Conventional truth.
You can see this. The next one, the vase. Example of the vase is the truth for the obscure consciousness, but it's not ultimate truth. It is not conventional truth. It's ultimate truth.
Because we are mixing conventional and ultimate truth in this discussion, so I'm a bit lost. Can you help to start again?
First we need to think about we call Four Noble Truth.
Okay.
Four Noble Truth. How we can call the truth suffering, truth of suffering, suffering of truth, suffering of origin. Why we name the truth suffering? It doesn't mean there is suffering. How we call? That's why we call Four Noble Truth. truth. Anybody, every idea why we name? We don't say four truths. We say four noble truths. Here, noble is the Arya. All the Arya beings are the noble being. This means, the dukkha is not truth suffering for us. We are still not convinced, that the dukkha is suffering. So when you look at yourself, you never think, oh, my body is totally suffering. When the Arya look at your body, he can see, the practitioner, the Aryas can see, is totally suffering. This is suffering is true for the Arya. Right? When we say four noble truth, is the truth for Arya. It is not true for it's not true for us.
Okay.
The conventional, the permanent phenomena, like for example, space, is the conventional truth. It is truth. Conventional truth, it is truth. Truth for whom? Truth for the obscure consciousness, awareness. Truth for the obscure consciousness.
Who has the obscure consciousness?
Everybody has.
Including the Arya.
Yeah.
And even the Arya will see the Arya sees. So the Arya truth.
So, the conventional, all the conventional phenomena is, we can call truth for the obscure mind, is not truth for the direct perception, not truth for the, direct perceiver. Okay, so it's finished. So when you have a time, you just read a little bit and try to understand the meaning. It's not easy. If you mix the meaning here, then it's so difficult to understand the truth in the Madhyamaka school, as well as the Jidamanda school. First, you try to understand differences between the first school and the true school. This true school is not like totally black and white. All the impermanence phenomena is ultimate truth. All the permanence phenomena is the conventional truth. But the first school, they mix up, right? Within the permanent, there's something is ultimate truth, some is the conventional truth. Within the permanent, someone is including to ultimate truth, someone is including to conventional truth.
Sure. When you say over here permanent and impermanent, it's according to us, according to the normal mind, according to the unenlightened mind, the permanence refer to according to the permanent, non-enlightened mind sees as permanent, not the ultimate permanence that we define like unchangeable, not produced by cause, it's not momentary change, that kind of permanence that you are talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry, because when you talk about permanent, there is two ways. It's normal language that we talk permanent, but in Buddhist terms, permanence, it is not produced by cause, it's not change momentary. So to us, conventional truth is permanent. So the tables is permanent to us because it's conventional truth. Tables is impermanent. I am impermanent. I am permanent. Everything is permanent because this is how we comprehend it. But it is not the ultimate meanings, ultimate natures of any of the objects. So whatever permanent that we see, ultimately it is impermanent, right? So for the first lower school, the Vaibhashika school, everything's included into permanent and impermanence, right? And then some permanence is ultimate truth, some permanence is
Conventional.
truth.
If within the permanent, within the impermanence, also same.
Okay.
Look at.
So we need to remember and memorize this part because now is to establish the wrong, I would say the wrong view. So because we still do not know what are the wrong views that we perceive, So these two lower school is to help us to understand how we see things strongly. How we see things wrongly. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a mouthful and quite heavy load, Geshe.
It's heavy load. So one is the English, is difficult term. So anyway, so please don't give up. Bit by bit. So I'm really happy. So everybody is come in the class and try to understand. You can understand today once. It's 1%, next 2%, then 10%. End of the class, you can get 100%. Thank you.